All right, you guys, we're going to begin looking at lesson 2.2, linear relations and functions. This lesson is actually pretty straightforward as far as things go, so we'll just dive right into it. Linear relations and functions. Obviously, most of what we've done up to this point is linear functions. That's basically all of algebra 1s. Sometimes it's called linear algebra instead of algebra 1. Towards the end of algebra 1, we do get into some non-linear equations, okay? So kind of looking at the difference, these equations should all look relatively familiar. We have standard form, we have a vertical line, we have slope-intercept form, and then we have slope-intercept form without a y-intercept, all right? Nonlinear equations, if you notice, you're going to have powers, you're going to have square roots, you're going to have multiple variables, you're going to be dividing by variables. They look a lot more complex. So if you don't remember the three forms of linear equations, I would make sure you get those down in your notes. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And point slope form is a new one you probably touched on a little bit in algebra 1, but it's y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. All three of these forms graph a line, and that's kind of what we're looking at today. So number one, looking at our first example, I'll try to leave that up there as well. State whether it's linear or nonlinear. Well, if you notice, this equation is actually in standard form. Thus, it is a linear function. Okay. Looking at B, hopefully you're probably seeing a product of two variables. Whenever you see a product of two variables, this is going to be a non-linear function. All right. If it's not in standard slope-intercept or point slope form, it is not going to be a line. And then the last case, you can see we are dividing by a quantity with a variable. This is also going to be nonlinear. We'll delve into some of these graphs later this year, but right now all you need to understand is those are not linear equations. Second part of the day is discussing standard form. There's a few caveats you want to keep in mind with standard form. Number one, ax plus by equals c, and then number two, all right, our a value, greatest common factor of 1, a needs to be positive, okay? So a, b, and c are all integers, all right, but a cannot be a negative value. So when we go into these ones, looking at the very first example here, part A, you notice that not each value is an integer. So first things first, I'm going to multiply everything by 3 to get rid of that fraction. So I wind up with 2x equals 21y plus 15. Now that I have integers across the board, I'm going to, sorry, that's not 15x, just 15. I need to rearrange things so that a is number one, positive, but then variables are on both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 21y from both sides. So I have 2x minus 21y equals 15. I have a positive a value. I have b on the same side of a. I have c isolated completely by itself. And I am now in standard form. So that is my final answer. Looking at this next one, we notice that we have integer values across the board, which is good to go. But what is wrong with this? Hopefully you are noticing that our a value is negative. That cannot happen. So the easiest thing to do is flip the sign on everything. So we're going to have a positive 4x. We're going to have a positive 8y. And we're going to have a negative 24. All right. And that is your equation in standard form. Again, a is 4, b is 8, and c is negative 24. All right. So today is pretty straightforward. Again, do the assignment in the weekly learning guide and in the assignment Dropbox. Just be mindful of those. Sometimes we do make modifications on assignments, especially if this year going on. So please let me know if you have any questions. Utilize the discussion board or join me during a live session. Remember, it's Math Wagner live when you log into Google Meet. Make sure you are using your PLSAS Google account. Otherwise, it will not let you in. But that's that. Good luck with 2-2. And I wish you the best.